Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the daily quiz discussion for the 27th of July 2022. Beginning with the first question of the day, which reads, which of the following is not a member of the Developing 8 countries, also known as the D8 grouping? The four options are as follows: A. Sri Lanka, B. Pakistan, C. Turkey, and D. Nigeria. What is the context? This article from today's The Hindu notes the meeting of the business leaders and officials from the 8 developing nations in Bangladesh. D8, short for Developing 8 Countries, is also known as the D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation. It consists of the following members: Egypt, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Turkey, and Bangladesh, apart from Indonesia, which did not take part in the current meeting. Note, the headquarters of the D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation is based in Istanbul, Turkey. The participating countries took note of the economic challenges in their respective countries. It includes challenges such as depleting foreign reserves, currency depreciation, supply chain disruptions, increasing inflation rates, as well as the energy and food security risks. They called for increased cooperation between the D8 countries to overcome these economic challenges. Coming back to the question, from our discussion, it becomes clear that the answer to this question is option A, Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is not a member of the D8 grouping. Moving on to the second question of the day, which reads, consider the following statements about World Economic Outlook Report. The three question statements are as follows. The first one, it is published by the International Monetary Fund. Second statement, it analyzes and predicts global economic developments during the near and medium terms. And the third statement, it is usually published 4 times a year. Which of the above statements are correct? Please have a look at the options given. What is the context? This article from today's The Indian Express takes note of the International Monetary Fund's estimates for the global as well as the Indian economy in its World Economic Outlook report. The report slashes the global growth projections for both 2022 as well as 2023 fiscal years. It has also warned of a worldwide recession next year. Also note, the report has trimmed its real growth forecast for India as well. The report quotes the following factors for the downturn in growth projections. It includes higher than expected inflation worldwide, monetary tightening in most of the developed countries, as well as a slowdown in China due to repeated COVID outbreaks and lockdowns. It also points out to the spillover effects from the war in Ukraine. These are the major concerns raised by the IMF in its World Economic Outlook report. Coming back to the question, the first statement is correct. That is, the World Economic Outlook report is published by the International Monetary Fund. The second point is also correct. Why? Because this report, that is the World Economic Outlook report, predicts and analyzes global economic developments only for the near and medium term. It does not involve long-term projections. It is not published 4 times but 2 times a year. Since the question asks for the correct statements, the answer to this question would be option A, 1 and 2 only. Moving on to the third question. It reads, consider the following statements with respect to organic farming. There are 3 question statements given here. The first one reads, India currently ranks first in terms of certified area of organic agriculture globally. The second point, India has the highest number of certified organic farmers in the world. The third point, the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana aimed to promote organic farming, provides for technical assistance, and it does not provide for any kind of monetary support. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Please have a look at the options given. What is the context? This article from the PIB takes note of the land used for organic farming in India. Currently, over 59 lakh hectares are under organic farming in the country, while the government plans to add another 6.5 lakh hectare to this. This is proposed to be implemented through the schemes of Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana as well as the Mission Organic Value Chain Development for Northeastern region. Coming back to the question. Consider the first statement. This is wrong. Why? Because India does not rank first, but it ranks fourth in terms of certified area of organic agriculture globally. In fact, it is Australia which has the largest organic agricultural area. Australia is followed by Argentina. Consider the second statement. This is correct. India accounts for the largest number of organic farmers in the world. The two statements may seem contradicting each other, but it is not the case so. Note, in India, there is the predominance of small and marginal farmers. So, even though India has the highest number of certified organic farmers in the world, given that these farmers are mostly small and marginal, in terms of area, India does not have the largest certified area of organic agriculture. Moving on to the third statement. This statement is also wrong. Why? Because under the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, there is a specific financial assistance provision. There is a financial assistance of around 50,000 per hectare which will be provided for 3 years. And most of this assistance is provided directly through direct benefit transfer for inputs such as biofertilizers, biopesticides, organic manure, compost, vermicompost as well as botanical extracts. Since the question asks for the correct statements, the answer to this question would be option B, 2 only. Moving on to the fourth question. It reads, consider the following statements about the International Space Station. There are two question statements given here. The first one, it is jointly run by the space agencies of US, Russia, Europe, Japan, China and Canada. The second statement reads, it is placed in high Earth orbit. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Please have a look at the options given below. What is the context? This article from today's The Hindu takes note of Russia's decision to leave the International Space Station project after 2024. It is said that owing to the tensions between Moscow and the West over the fighting in Ukraine, Russia plans to build its own outpost in space. Please note, the International Space Station is a joint project run by the space agencies of Russia, the US, Europe, Japan and Canada. Note, the first piece was put in orbit in the year 1998 and it has been continuously inhabited for nearly 22 years. Coming back to the question. The first statement is wrong. Why? Because it does not have the participation of China. See, even if one did not know which are the involved space agencies, by just noting the name of China, we could have eliminated this statement as being wrong. Why? Because recently there have been multiple reports of China launching its space mission to set up its own space station. The second statement is also wrong. Why? Because the International Space Station is located in the low Earth orbit at around 400 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Since the question asks for the correct statements, the answer to this question would be option D, neither 1 nor 2. Moving on to the last question of the day. This is a question from the UPSC 2019 Prelims examination. The question reads, who among the following Mughal emperors shifted emphasis from illustrated manuscripts to album and individual portraits? The four options are as follows. A. Humayun, B. Akbar, C. Jahangir and D. Shah Jahan. The correct answer to this question is option C, Jahangir. Please note, the Mughal school of painting actually originated in the reign of Akbar. The major themes of Mughal paintings revolved around battles, hunting scenes, wildlife, etc. Notably, Jahangir was especially fond of art and architecture. He in fact commissioned, catalogued and preserved many artworks. It was Jahangir who shifted emphasis from illustrated manuscripts to the album and individual portraits. Notably, Jahangir was exposed to European artworks as well through the Jesuits who visited his court. He encouraged his court painters to adopt European styles as well. Notably, Jahangir also sent his agents to Persia and other countries to acquire manuscripts and other works of art. Next, moving on to the fact of the day, energy efficient technologies for cars. This article from today's The Indian Express takes note of the trend of the automobile manufacturers bringing back petrol variants as the top models across their brand. Now let us understand why this trend is happening. Notably, Diesel engines, because they use compressed airs and also because they have higher compression ratios, are found to be more efficient. Higher efficiency means they use lesser fuel. This means lower operating costs. However, this advantage is offset by the higher service and maintenance costs associated with diesel engines. Also note, diesel engines are more polluting in nature as compared to petrol engines. They give out emissions such as particulate matter as well as hydrocarbons. Owing to the stricter B6 emission norms rolled out recently, there has been the trend of shift towards petrol engines. As discussed earlier, one of the major disadvantages of petrol engines is that they are relatively less efficient as compared to diesel engines. So of late, there has been an emphasis on incorporating technology which will help improve the fuel efficiency of petrol engine. This article discusses some of the major innovations in this regard. When it comes to innovations in the combustion chamber, there is the two fuel injectors per cylinder as well as gasoline direct injection. Now, what happens in a traditional petrol engine is that petrol is mixed with air in a separate carburetor and then it is made to enter the engine cylinder. This happens in a carburetor. Now, what this two fuel injectors per cylinder as gasoline direct injection does is, instead of having a carburetor, these two innovations involve injecting petrol directly into the cylinder. This high pressure injection results in atomization of petrol. This gives lead to better combustion and better fuel efficiency. Then we also have something known as turbocharged engines. What happens is, once air and gasoline are combusted in the engine cylinder, the exhaust is driven out. This exhaust has some heat energy. This is utilized to run a turbocharger, which is basically a turbine. Now this supplies power back to the engine. Hence, this can help improve fuel efficiency. Apart from these innovations with respect to engine cylinders, we also have hybrid engines. Now, hybrid engines involve a petrol engine as well as a electric motor along with batteries. One of the major technologies used in hybrid technologies is the regenerative braking system. When a car stops, the energy which would otherwise be spent in the braking system is used to charge the batteries, which in turn will help run the electric motors. So this way, it is helpful in cutting down the usage of fuel. Other areas which are seeing innovation include attempts to reduce the vehicle weight as well as improving the tire surface, which will help reduce rolling resistance between the tire and the road. This can also help increase fuel efficiency. That is all we have for today's discussion. Thank you for being with us.